This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Coach, I guess first just your overall thoughts on the day as it went, the atmosphere, the environment, and then what you saw from the guys.
Yeah, I thought the environment was great. I thought, it was a great crowd because we, with the students being out on break, we didn't really know what type of crowd we would have, but we walked in and we were all really surprised and, in a good way. I thought, you do these things to try to, evaluate, get a look at guys at different positions, guys getting the opportunity to compete against each other. I mean, really, this is the only, day that they'll get in front of the public to compete against each other. And then everything else will obviously be against another opponent. Some really good things happened for sure, some things that we need to correct for sure. But yeah, I thought what we accomplished. Nobody got injured. We have a lot of video that we can now watch and go back on and evaluate. And, some guys play better in games. Some guys play better in practice. And so this is just another, it's our fifth participation where we had competition with referees that was public. So it's 1/5 of the piece of the puzzle.
To go off of what you just said about guys playing a little bit different in practice or maybe overseas, where does Jalen Graham fall on that spectrum, and just what you see from him today? Obviously a strong performance.
Well, the thing with Jalen Graham is you're talking about an all Pac-12 all conference player in a Power 5 league. He played today much like some of the the video evals where he was a really great spin dribble drive guy, a guy that you could isolate. We have felt for quite some time that he shot the three pretty well in practice. Not that we want him shooting it all the time, but I do think he can keep the defense a little bit honest. At times, we would like him to rebound the ball a little bit more. But he is a really good passer and a really willing passer. Once he gets the ball and kind of the defense kind of gets congested, he does a really good job of finding people. So for sure, this was good for his teammates to see him play well. And I think this is good for his confidence as well.
Eric, just curious what you thought about Nick and Trevin kind of leading that white team. I think they got down by like as many as 17, but kind of made it a game late.
Yeah, I thought that they both did a good job of continuing to compete. One of the things that we always talk about is competing and playing until the end of the game, regardless of winning or losing. Even if we're winning by a large margin, it's how do you continue to play for the full, game. And we played with the 24-second shot clock at times, and then we took it away and played with the normal shot clock. But some really good things out of both those players. I thought that TB struggled a little in the first half, and then played a better second half for sure.
And then AB, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 blocks, and a steal. About what you expected, maybe.
Yeah, I mean he's in my opinion, I have no idea how it'll play out, but I've never had a team. Every team kind of takes on its own identity with its personnel, and based on, again, a limited amount of time, what I can say is we're really, really good at blocking shots from the perimeter. AB does a great job of it. I think that Brazil's going to block perimeter jump shots regardless of what position he plays. Council is really, really good. Ricky is at blocking perimeter jump shots. So, again, it's kind of wacky how, last year we lead the nation in taking charges because we had a player in Jalen Williams that loved to take charges and had perfected the craft of doing that. And this year we do have some guys like AB that are really, really incredibly gifted at blocking shots from the perimeter.
Seems like you tried to split the teams up pretty evenly, but were there any pairings or guys that you wanted to make a point to get together and have some matchups play out on the court?
Not really. I mean, we tried to, make it as even as possible and then try to figure out, how the bigs, I think the most problematic thing was just how are we going to do our bigs rotation. And then, Devo, precautionary today. didn't know really until right before that he was not going to play. Obviously, we put out the teams, and he's just got a little bit of discomfort that's not of a concern of anybody. But there was no reason to have him play today.
Was it an ankle with Beaver?
It's a knee, but there's no medical concern.
Okay, well, that's good. Hey, getting back to Jalen, I know those Europe games, they don't count the standings and all that, but he didn't do much of anything over there. What do you think of how he performed over there? Did you have any cause for concern? And what do you think, Adam? Has he been better since then, and is this more reflective, of what you expect?
Yeah, I think his practices foreign tour and foreign tour, were kind of indicative of what it was, and then all of a sudden, since we came back, I think some of the guys, which is only human nature, some of the guys that played maybe better than even they had hoped. Maybe their practice habits have slipped slightly, and then I think maybe some guys that wanted to play a little bit better on the foreign tour have kind of upped their practice intensity. So, and I think that's just human nature, because sometimes you tend to relax when you play well, and sometimes you get a little bit more grit to yourself when you don't have the role that you anticipated or don't play well.
Yeah, no, it's just a red-white game. It's combined 7 of 31 3-point shooting. What are your thoughts on that?
It's not going to change. We're not a great 3-point shooting team. We're not a good 3-point shooting team, and I would love to tell you that that we're going to knock those down, but there's too much of a body of work. Way too much of a body of work right now that we struggle from behind the 3-point line.
Did you like the intensity and the tempo of the game today?
Yeah, that was kind of why we played with the 24-second clock for a little bit of the game. Was we wanted to play with great pace. I was pretty pleased with the pace. Can we get better? Absolutely. But I thought off free throws, our free throw attack game was pretty good. I thought our transition off misses was good. And then just with any teams, right now we got to get better in some areas too, which this will give us some more film to watch.
Eric, what did you think of the Twins today? And I think, Mikhail, 8, 5, and 4 assists on the interior is pretty good for a big guy. Do you think just matching them up against each other maybe brought out some of the best in them?
Yeah, we didn't want to play in together on the same team, but if you look at our big shooting, which I haven't had time to study it, but Graham goes 10 of 11, and you look at Mackay, he goes 3 for 4, right? And then you look at Mikkel, he goes 4 for 4, all right? And Kamani goes 3 for 6. So I'm not real good in math, but that's a really good offensive percentage. But on the flip side, those guys were all guarding each other too. So, really good offensive productivity, but defensively, none of them guard. So it's problematic from a defensive standpoint when we see these numbers.
You said earlier in the week you were wanting to see how those guys maybe handled today. There any takeaways among those 4 bigs?
No, I thought pre-game in the locker room they were loose, they had fun. I didn't sense any nerves. I actually sensed more nerves on the foreign tour, so I was pleased with the whole group, not just anybody in particular, but I think all of our bigs need to continue to work on their conditioning as well. That's probably a big thing between now and the first game.
I think 14-9 assisted turnovers for both teams today. I know turnovers were a concern in Europe. You didn't have Devo's, probably your most experienced ball handler today. How'd you feel the team took care of the ball, shared it today?
Yeah, that's been a big point of emphasis. And, when I talk about the 3-point shooting, when you watch, hundreds and thousands of shots go up every day, it is what it is. But I do think we will take better care of the basketball than what we saw on the foreign tour. We certainly did today. And I think we can be a good defensive team. So I thought we kind of pressured a lot defensively, and So I was really pleased with how he took care of the basketball and handled the ball.
Eric, the AP poll comes out tomorrow. You guys are probably going to be ranked pretty high. What are your thoughts on that?
Not much. I mean, doesn't really mean anything. I don't think. I mean, it's good for the fans. It's good for media. But I don't know if.
Is that something? Obviously, puts a target on your back to start the year. Is that
We already have a target on our back.
Do
I
I?
mean, we already have a target
Yeah.
on our back. So I mean, I would love to say that whatever the polls say, making 2 Elite Eights back to back. I think that, and that's something that we haven't talked to our team much about, but we will start to as we start creeping closer and closer to games, because teams are going to get. Although we only have 2 returners, and two guys that, that were off and on starters, just having Arkansas across the front of our jerseys puts a little bit different dynamics right now when we play against people, and I think our guys have to understand the responsibility that comes with that, because when you're on the other end, and a lot of teams sometimes overlook people, and then you could sneak some wins. We're not going to be able to do that at all.
It's obviously not your recruiting because you lose all 5 starters, and then you're going to be ranked, probably 7th, 8th, 6th, somewhere in there. What do you think? I mean, the perception of the program obviously is very positive.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I just want to keep getting better, Bob. I know you're going to keep. You're going to. I don't know what to say. I mean, honestly, maybe Danielle will be happy with the polls.
Okay, I'll call her for a quote.
There you go. That's
Okay.
perfect.
And then Nick, obviously, no surprise, he had a good scoring game and did some good things. What do you think of Nick's game?
Yeah, I mean, he just, it's almost like he's on skates. He's kind of, he's fun to watch. He's cosmetically pleasing with how he moves, and he's got great command with the ball. He can shoot. He is a guy that will make threes for us and make big shots for us, and he'll continue to work on some of his off-ball defensive principles that we're doing. But he's so gifted, and he can, today he played mostly the point guard position, and Anthony played the point at the other for the other team, and I thought both of them did a really good job. And everybody in this room right now can tell that they're completely different players, but I think they'll really complement each other once we go from a inter-squad game to combining the group. And
Joseph, he had a pretty good game. What do you think of his play?
Yeah, I mean, Joseph is, he can shoot the ball. He does stretch the defense out. His thing is just going to be, defensively, continue to try to get better defensively and continue to work on being, a guy that can get loose balls. But defensively, I think, we're a no-middle team, and he's got to really work to try to keep that ball in front of him. But he does open up space, and I give him a lot of credit. He has not had many bad practices. He practices and he competes, and, he does, like I said, he's got the ability to stretch the defense out a little bit because he is a perimeter threat.
Final question.
Yeah, just going back to AB for a second, almost had a double-double factoring out points. Like, how unique is he at that guard spot?
He's really unique. I mean, there's not many players in college basketball like Anthony because, there's probably not going to be many point guards that are better rebounders. There's probably not going to be many point guards that are going to block as many shots as he does from the perimeter. His assist total, because he thrives off passing the ball, so he's going to be one of the assist leaders in the country. So he's just unique. He's not like a normal point guard, because you're talking about a 6'8", point guard. Who's a really willing passer, and you can go look over the last several years. There's not a lot of college basketball players that can do what he can do.
Football is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your football betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events like MLB, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.